and I got goosebumps, which is so rare for me. Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Angel Opera. I'm a professional opera singer and voice scientist, and today I'm going to be reacting to Disturbed's cover of The Sound of Silence from Live on Conan. This definitely happened a while ago, but I never reacted to it, so here we are. I've also never watched there be a commercial. There's a commercial.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain.
I'm gonna pause it in a weird spot, but I just want to say I feel right off that this is an artist. The way that he's using the language to assist with the sound is really beautiful. I mean, he's clearly feeling it. I love the way he's holding on to the voiced consonants. Voiced consonants are just a consonant that can have a pitch if you sustain it. So like S can't be voiced, it's unvoiced. S, there's no pitch there. You know, the N of friend that he holds on to, friend, like obviously there's a pitch there, so this is a voiced consonant. I can just tell that there's a lot of emotion and thought behind the presentation of this piece. So let's keep going.
Still remains within the sound of silence.
I also forgot to comment on it because I was just thinking about how interesting this take is. But there's that moment where he takes a breath, kind of in a weird spot, but it's so clean and smooth. I mean, you barely notice. A lot of opera singers and a lot of like voice teachers in the classical world will call this cat butt, where you sing really small at the bottom of your range, kind of to focus the sound. And he really did it there on the within the, it's quite small and quite covered, and then he comes up to the higher note and it's just beautifully clean and even toned.
In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stared by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touch the sound of silence. And
I mean, continuing to hold on to these voice consonants, continuing to be, I want to say like it's very internalized, the way that he's performing this. I mean, as it should be. I mean, we all can hear the lyrics. It is a very sort of like self-reflecting piece. So there's not a whole lot for me to talk about right now. He's not doing any like major things where I can notice something drastic. I mean, he's definitely a consummate performer, but I do feel like there could be more oscillation or more vibration at the end of notes. But to me, it feels like he's keeping it very speech level on purpose, so that it feels very much like an internal monologue or like a moment of self-reflection. He's not trying to sing it. It's almost being done as if it were recitative and, you know, an opera style where it's just story.
in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs and voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence.
It's really interesting to me. I mean, he's clearly this is a grown man, but he's so intentional with the top notes that pop up that they're quite a little on the alveolar ridge and in the sinus cavities in terms of resonance, that bright, shining sort of sound that he gets. It's so evocative of like a much younger person, the way he's utilizing those shifts in resonance. And it makes the piece so much more emotional because he's sort of alternating between being this hardened man who's like clearly lived a life and these moments of just reaching for something and sounding so pure and young and a little broken, which, you know, it's one thing to see like a man in his 40s be broken, and it's another thing to think about a child in that way. And you hear the vulnerability, and it just hits you so deep. Wow.
Said you do not know, silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words and I might teach you. Take my arms and I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wind.
That's more interesting to me. Everything that this man is giving off to me is that of like a consummate performer. He knows what he's doing. He's clearly thought this through in a very precise way, which I would like to say is somebody who really thinks about the way I perform and the how of what I'm doing and like where to make an emotional connection or like where to lighten up the tone. That doesn't mean you don't feel something deeply because you heavily research and practice. That doesn't mean you don't feel it deeply. It just means that you are somebody who's inclined to do a bit of research and a bit of study, and that's totally fine. But now hearing the rasp, I would just like to say a rasp is something where a lot of people talk about healthy ways to use rasp. Every iteration of rasp with prolonged usage over time will damage your voice. We can fight about it in the comments. That said, there are healthier ways to use rasp, and there are things you can do to mitigate the risks that you undertake by singing with a rasp. And it's fine. I sing with the rasp. Lots of people sing with the rasp and have healthy, long careers because they know how to mitigate it and they know how to do it in the least damaging way possible. And it's clear to me that this rasp that he's putting in his voice, probably false chords, probably a combination of like mucousy phlegm. It's clear to me that he knows how to mitigate this damage on some level because of these pure tones that he's giving us when he's sort of doing the sound of a young child. But it's nice to hear the rasp. I love a raspy voice.
Of silence, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made, and the sign lashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming, and the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, whispered in the sound of silence.
I forgot to pause and I got goosebumps, which is so rare for me. But it's just clear he really knew what he was doing in like the emotional arc of this piece. And I loved getting raspier, getting that like older, wiser, battle-worn soldier kind of sound, because it sounded like as if he were fighting for that vulnerability that he built in the beginning of the piece. You know, you come across pieces where a technical analysis just doesn't feel worth it. And this is kind of one of those pieces for me. I mean, I can talk about how he's building the rasp. I can talk about how that breathiness is created with an excess of subglottic pressure that opens the folds with such force that air escapes the tone. How he's using the false chords to sort of enrich the rasp, or it could be mucus. There are a couple of ways to make a rasp happen. And you don't really, I mean, I can't tell if you can hear the difference. That's good for you. I've never known anybody who can tell what type of method they're using for a rasp, maybe beyond just straight up being a smoker and it being inflammation. That's easy to spot. But this piece just doesn't feel worth it for me to do this like deep dissection, because it's clearly coming from somebody who is an excellent and well thought out artist. I love the way he adjusted the melody for his own voice. I love the story arc that he built. I love his voice. Overall, I think it's a specific type of instrument. I don't want to say it's a beautiful instrument, but to me, it just feels very human, which I love. And I love the way that he utilizes like what he can and cannot do. I mean, if I were to be really, really nitpicky, I would say I wasn't a super fan of some of his vowels. Like, I feel like his ooh vowel got a little into ER territory, and his ER vowel got a little far into like a focused kind of sound where it's like really, really covered in forward. But I also know, I mean, that is a trick that a lot of singers use when they are experiencing a great amount of air going through their chords, because over closing those vowels can really help you focus the sound, and it can help the chords oscillate in a more functional way. So maybe that's why he was doing it. Maybe it's just a habit of his. Maybe he's from the Midwest. You know, there can be a number of reasons why he uses vowel sounds, or why he modifies his vowels in that way. That said, that is my reaction and analysis of Disturbed singing the sound. If you found this video informational or helpful or entertaining at all, I hope you like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you next time.